Hi my angels, I hope you guys are all well. Today I have a foundation review slash first impressions slash day wear test of the brand new Fenty powder foundation, which is called the Pro Filt'r Soft Matte Powder Foundation. And if you guys want to know my honest thoughts on this guy, then please keep watching. Hi guys, I'm all barefaced and ready, and I thought I would show you the products that I'm going to prep my skin with before going in with the powder foundation. So for moisturizer, I'm going to use my Shiseido Benefiance SPF. I love this guy. So I'm just taking one pump of this and putting it all over my face and making sure that's blended really nicely. I love how lightweight this is, and you don't get a grey cast or anything like that either. And I'm not going to be using all Fenty products as my base. I'm just going to be using things that I generally like to go for. There are a couple of Fenty things that I like. So, speaking of which, I'm going to use the Fenty Beauty Pro Filt'r Soft Silk Hydrating Primer. And I really like this one as a hydration kind of priming vibe. And the reason why I want to go in with a hydrating primer is because, I don't know, I've not read any reviews or watched any videos of this powder foundation, but generally when I think of a powder foundation, I think of it being on the drier, matter side. So I just want to make sure that my skin is looking nice and juicy and plump. So hopefully that doesn't happen. So as you can see, my skin is nice and hydrated. So this is called the Pro Filt'r Soft Matte Powder Foundation, and I'm using the shade 290, hopefully. This is my right shade, and I'll show you what it looks like. It kind of comes in that iconic octagon shape, and it's quite nice and like small and compact, and it's quite thick. This is her cream blush, and if you see, it's almost kind of like double the size of it. It's nice and weighted. It doesn't feel like soft and flimsy. It actually feels quite like luxe. And then inside, we have the powder foundation itself, a really gorgeous mirror, and then underneath, we have another mirror, which I quite like this. I feel like sometimes you've like, oh, actually, this isn't a mirror. It's just kind of like a reflective vibe. And then you also get a sponge. So I'm going to be using this for half of my face and a kind of buffing brush for the other half. But you've got everything in here, and this is quite nice and small, so you can shove it into like your bag if you're out and about. But yeah, this is what it looks like. It retails for £27, or I believe $34. I will leave all the details and all the areas where you can get this particular foundation in the description box as always. So it comes in 50 shades, which is amazing. Sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, I do get a little bit confused as to which shade I'm gonna be. Now, because there are so many shades to choose from, I personally do get a little bit like scared about whether or not I'm gonna get the exact perfect match. But there are some amazing websites that can help you find your match and compare it to like your other shades that you use in other brands. I will leave a link to them in the info box. And I kind of feel like the Fenty Beauty website has like an online virtual shade matching, which I think is really cool. I love that so many brands are doing that at the moment. But very quickly, I'm gonna read to you guys the like style notes for this powder foundation. So Rihanna apparently loves poreless, blurred looking skin, but could never find the perfect powder to satisfy her needs. After 3 years of perfecting this formula, my god, this is giving me high hopes. She developed the ultimate powder that makes skin look like skin, not cakey. I love not cakey skin. And works on all skin types and tones. This Pro Filt'r Soft Matte Powder Foundation is the perfect filter on the go, and Rihanna always has it in her purse. Really good to know, and I feel like this is a really nice size actually to put in your purse. So the long wear, light as air with no flashback Pro Filt'r Soft Matte Powder Foundation reduces the appearance of shine and features a blur filter complex to develop the ultimate blurred finish. Oh my god, this sounds really, really, really good. The buildable light to full coverage formula loves to be layered and won't settle into fine lines. Okay, that's really good because my skin is definitely aging, and I would love to see how this performs in those areas. So it's also saying that it won't clog pores or cake up. Really liking the sound of this. And also sweat, humidity, and crease resistant. Okay, the chic portable powder compact fits in the hand. I have very high hopes for this, and I'm just so excited to go straight into this guy. You actually get in here 9.1 grams or 0.30 ounces, which I believe is a pretty decent amount. I also really, really like the mirror in here. I feel like it's a very, very good quality mirror. So now that all that's out of the way, we can start the fun stuff, which is actually putting this guy on. So I'm going to do half of my face with the sponge that comes with this and half of my face with a buffing brush. So I'm just going to start getting this onto the brush, and okay, that is definitely too dark. I have another shade here. Let's try that instead. So this is the shade 280, which hopefully is a little bit more my vibe. I'm just going to apply it on top of that and see if that... Okay, I'm not liking. This looks so orange on me. Oh no. It's okay, it's okay. We're just gonna go with it. Bloody hell, like this does not look like this on my skin. I don't know if this is supposed to be like this. There's something going wrong here. I don't really know what's happening, but let's just get half of the face done. Hopefully once I have concealed and stuff, it won't look as... I mean, it doesn't look dry or cakey on my skin. Okay, I like that. Right, might as well just get... Oh my god, this is also not... Okay, we're just going to pretend that this is my shade. I swear I used this shade in the powder foundation. It does not look like this on my skin. I mean, you can kind of see how bad that looks in terms of colour. But in terms of the finish, it's actually quite beautiful. I mean, so this is what I am working with. You can clearly tell that this is not the right shade for me. But in terms of the way that it's sitting on my skin, I actually quite like it. It is quite full coverage, but it doesn't look dry on the skin, which... I mean, I really like that. I would definitely say it's full coverage, like medium to full coverage, because you can see my freckles through it. But yeah, oh my god, I cannot deal with the color match. Like, is something going wrong here? Because this and this does not look like the same. The other side, I'm going to use the foundation brush, which is actually a Fenty foundation brush, and push this into my skin. Yeah, it's still, in terms of the color, it doesn't relate to what's on here. So I kind of feel like you're not going to be able to get away with the same shade you use as your liquid foundation in the powder, because this, I mean, this side isn't as bad as this side. Maybe because I'm applying it with a brush. Let's see. But this side doesn't look as dark, but oh my god, you can kind of tell the difference. Flipping out. Like this. I'm just kind of using like pressing motions, like I'm pressing it into my skin. I suppose you could buff it into the skin as well if you really wanted to, but it's pretty easy to apply. I actually prefer applying it with the brush. You can totally use any kind of dense buffing brush, and you can kind of see the coverage on this side is so much more intense than the coverage on this side where I'm using this brush. The one thing I cannot get my head around is why this colour in the pan isn't translating on my skin. I was gonna like put like bronzer and stuff on, but I kind of feel like I don't need to do that. Oh, this colour match looks so bad. If I compare the two sides, I prefer it with a brush. I feel like it just looks so much more natural. It's not like super full coverage, but you can definitely pack more coverage in the areas that you kind of want it to be there. I'm just making sure everything is like nice and even looking. Let me show you a close-up. So this is the side with the brush. As you can see, my skin looks so much more skin-like. It kind of doesn't even feel or look like I've really got anything on my skin, which makes me very happy, because I love foundation to look like you're not wearing foundation. I've definitely over the years realized that I love lighter coverage. This side you can see that coverage. I definitely prefer this side though. So these are my first initial thoughts on the foundation. Like, in some lights it doesn't look bad. No, it doesn't look as bad. Especially when I look in the mirror, it does not look like my skin tone. It definitely looks lighter on this side, but this side, It's looking very, very, very off colour, especially compared to the pan. But it's okay because I have some concealer. I'm going to be doing the rest of my base as I usually would. So I'll talk you through all the products that I'm using. For concealer, I am taking the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer in the shade Light 2.75. And I'm just going to add that on to my under eyes. And hopefully this will make everything look a little bit more balanced out. Okay, yeah, just instantly that makes things look a lot better. And I'm putting this on the usual kind of areas that I like to. So that is underneath my eyes and on my forehead and a little bit on my chin. And as you can see on camera, it's completely balancing out that mismatch of colour. And hopefully it will look okay by the time all of my makeup is done. Right, this makes me feel so much more better. It doesn't look as mismatched. I do prefer this side though compared to this side. And even though I've put on a cream product on top of the powder, it's not really moved the foundation underneath and it looks so seamless on the skin. I'm gonna zoom you guys in very quickly and show you both of the sides. So as you can see, the areas that I've applied the cream and where the powder is, I just feel like it's blended really beautifully. I'm very quickly going to set those areas in place. I'm using the Beauty Bakery powder to set those areas. I know I said I didn't really need bronzer on top of this, but we're just going to add a little bit just to see how that performs. I'm taking my butter bronzer from Physicians Formula and very slightly, I mean I don't really need it, putting it around the perimeters of my face, all the usual areas that I like to bronze. So I really want to see how this foundation performs with a mixture of like powders and foundations on top of it. So for blush, I'm going to go in with a cream blush. This is the Fenty Petal Pop-In Blush. It's probably one of my favourite cream blushes like ever. And I used this pretty much the whole of last summer. I'm surprised I haven't like hit pan. I love it so much. It's such a gorgeous shade. I'm just getting this on to the apples of my cheeks. And again, this actually looks really, really nice on top. It's not moving the foundation. And I mean, my skin does look genuinely really good. Okay, I like that we are balancing things out. I like that it's not looking like how it was before. For highlight, I'm going to take Creativity from Becca and just get a very small amount onto the high points of my cheeks. This is an incredible cream highlight, but it'll be interesting to see how this sits on the skin. Oh yeah, that looks beautiful. I'm gonna quickly finish off my eyes and lips off camera and I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so the rest of my makeup is all done. I was kind of debating whether or not I wanted to put a setting spray on top of this, and I feel like I'm gonna leave it just to see how this really works without anything additional on top that's gonna make it really last longer. Now that my makeup is all done, it doesn't look as bad. I mean, I still don't think that this relates on the skin, and I definitely do need to get a lighter shade if I do like the overall outcome of this base. But what I am going to do is I'm going to do a few check-ins throughout the day. It is currently 10 to 11, so I'll try and do maybe like 2 or 3 throughout the day, just so that I can give you guys a real update and insight into how this lasts on my skin. And in case you're wondering, my skin is like normal to combination. It's sometimes oily in certain areas, generally quite normal, just depends on the weather and yeah, the time of the month and all of that stuff. But overall, if I tell you what my thoughts are now that my makeup is done, is that my skin genuinely does look very beautiful. It is on the matte side. Obviously with a powder foundation you're going to get matte finish. However, it doesn't look dry or cakey on the skin, which I really, really like, and that is one thing that this powder foundation claims. And yeah, I definitely feel like this side is looking a little bit heavier than this side, so I prefer using this off the bat with a brush. Those are my first kind of few thoughts since I've had it on for like the last half an hour. But it'll be really interesting to see how this lasts throughout the day. So I'm going to leave this first kind of check-in as that, and I will catch you guys in a little bit. Also, I just wanted to very quickly show you guys up close and personal what this looks like on the skin. I am filming in natural daylight, so yeah, this will give you guys hopefully an insight into how my skin is looking. So this again is the side where I used the buffing brush, and this is the side where I used the compact that comes in this guy. So yeah, you can kind of tell the difference, how this side does look heavier and this side looks a lot more like my vibe. Okay, it is officially 2 p.m. so it is my first 3-hour check-in, and this is what my skin is looking like. I definitely feel like the colour doesn't look as bad in some lights, but when I look in a mirror, that is when I can tell. I was just cutting some onions and my eyes watered, but it's not taken off any makeup. If it's anything, my concealer is creasing a little bit. I mean, it's definitely full coverage. I can still kind of see it gathering a little bit around my mouth. Everywhere else it's looking pretty fresh still at the moment. It's not really, I feel like it looks a little bit thick and cakey around my nose on this side, but on this side is not as bad. I'm also using a mirror that's really zoomed in so I can see every little thing going on my face. I don't see it creasing anywhere as such. But generally foundation doesn't really crease too much on me. If anything, it creases in this line right here. But right now, I think it's fine. I've just got khichdi on the stove. I'm basically cooking it in a new way where I just shove everything in a pot with water and just letting it cook. So hopefully that tastes nice. It smells really good. But that is my first check-in. This is what it's looking like up close and personal. That is my first check-in, number 1. I'm gonna do my second check-in in 3 hours time, so I will see you guys then. So it is 5 p.m. now, so it's been another 3 hours and I'm currently sitting in my office. I've got a studio light on at the moment so you guys can just kind of see a bit more of my skin. I am looking at my skin at the moment. I can see a few of my like pores kind of showing up right here, and I kind of thought this might happen with a powder foundation. Also on the screen right here I'm going to put up what this looks like in flash photography, and that's just using my iPhone. So in the flash you can kind of see that it doesn't suit my skin tone. In this lighting it doesn't look that bad, but in real life it really does look not great, the colour. But overall in the photo my skin looks pretty decent. You can still see texture on my skin and you can kind of see like it gathering up on my nose. I have eaten, I've like reapplied some lip balm. I feel like the nose area looks the same. I don't think it's gotten any worse. It hasn't settled into my kind of like line that I've got on my forehead. Around my mouth, I feel like it still looks pretty the same. I don't think that there's been a massive difference in the last 3 hours that I've had it on. I still prefer this side of my face than this side. This side definitely looks a lot heavier for me than this one. So yeah, this is what my skin is looking like at the moment. I don't have any major issues with it, just apart from obviously the colour was so different to what it is in the pan. The creasing, there's no creasing or anything. It's just gathering around my nose. But yeah, that is my 6-hour check-in. And I feel like I'll do one more check-in at 8, which will bring it to almost just under like a full 12-hour wear. And yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying it so far, and I will see you all very soon. Right, it's 8 o'clock and this is my final check-in of the day. This is how my makeup is looking at the moment. You can definitely tell my concealer's here, and this area has started to look a little bit of a different colour. Some of the foundation has rubbed off on this area. That's because I was sitting at my desk like this and like kind of touching my face. I want to say this entire area right here, the foundation has come off, and this is what it's looking like really close up. As you can see, it's still looking quite like thick in this area, and that's because I used like the sponge to pat it in. But this area is looking still quite nice and fresh looking. My skin, funnily enough, hasn't gotten oily, which I really like. It's not really settled into any areas. It does look a little bit kind of like, it is looking like it's sitting on the top of this kind of area, but considering I've had it on for like 10 hours, it doesn't look that bad. Personally, I don't know whether I would wear this foundation like going forward. But I think for the days where I want a little bit of extra coverage, when I'm wearing something like more of like the lighter side for day to day, I would definitely consider putting this on as more of like a full coverage powder on top rather than an actual powder foundation. But I don't know, I might have a different view on it if it was like my right shade. It's just such a shame that the liquid versions that I use are the right shade in liquid form, but in the powder form it just looks a little bit off on my skin. It doesn't look that bad at the moment, but when you compare it to the rest of my body, that's when you can kind of tell. But this is the end of this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed my little first impressions and day wear test of the new Fenty Pro Filter Matte Powder Foundation. I think that's the name of it. But yeah, please let me know if there are any other foundations that you want me to do a video like this on. Thank you so much for all the love and support. I will leave a link to all the products that I've used in this video in the description box below. And hopefully I will see you guys all in my next video. I'm sending all the love and light in my heart to you guys, and I will catch you all soon.